The show can't start until we crack open a bottle of Revelton. Whether it's their crisp, clean vodka, the bold spice of their rye whiskey, the rich smoothness of bourbon, or the original honey whiskey that started it all, every pour is a taste of craft and passion straight from the heart of Iowa. So pour yourself a drink, settle in, and get ready to relax, laugh, and enjoy the show.
Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Would you like to sample some of my nuts?
You can lift your weights, you can run your miles, but you ain't got what's been earned through trials. It ain't in the gym, ain't in the youth, it's in busted knuckles and hard-lived truth. Back's been sore since 99, but I still stack wood and I'll still outgrind. Call me slow, call me old, but I got hands that could bend pure gold. Ain't about muscle, ain't about speed, it's about the fire when the time comes to lead. You can talk real tough, you can flex real wide, but when it's time to dig in, boys, step aside. Old man strength, built to last, years of work, no need for class. Ain't no quit, ain't no doubt, you don't know tough till you've been worn out.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Old Man Strength, brought to you from the AKC Andrew Downs Marketing Studios and sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company, Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage, and styled by JJ Boutique, who's on the path to make me look better with new clothes. And it's she's got her work cut out for her. I'm your host, Chris Shipley, joined again finally by my co-host, Aaron Wall. Aaron, welcome back to the show. It's been like a month and a half.
It has been. Been really busy with work and traveling a lot, and it's just been kind of hectic this summer, which is good to be busy, but I do have a question for you though.
Yes.
So when she started styling you, was the first thing she did throw away all your Affliction t-shirts and Ed Hardy t-shirts? You got to get rid of these things.
I no longer have any of those.
Oh, sure. But, right, like you throw anything away.
They were a little big. I've lost a lot of weight. I needed new clothes. So
that's true. That's good.
Funny enough, the first thing I bought there was an Iowa State sweatshirt. So I gotta stick with the brand,
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's been just to catch you up, and I don't know that the listeners care a whole lot, but I'm going to tell them anyways. As you know, we've lost 2 dogs this year.
Yeah.
And my wife finally got around to kind of being ready for another one. So I will pre-apologize to the listeners that if they hear some whining in the background, we have a 5-month-old puppy that I just picked up from the shelter today. Yeah. He also got neutered today at the shelter before we picked him up.
That's nice.
So he's had a hell of a day for sure.
Bastard. Poor little guy.
But he's exploring the basement and whining every once in a while when he's not right next to me. And
what's his name?
No name yet. Still working on it.
Wow. Okay.
Still working on it. The shelter called him Ranger. That's not going to stick.
Right.
No name yet. That'll be a family decision. I think the current front runner is Jameson, but we're not sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but so that's been good. The golf game's getting better. I've been playing every Saturday and Sunday for the most part. Shot an 83 about a week and a half ago.
I was going to go play Saturday with Bill, or Sunday with Bill Blank, but it was still going to be like 85 degrees out. And I was like, I'm not going. Plus I got stuff to do after church and things like that. So I have not played. I played a week ago with a client a salesman who's we're vetting some software at my job, and so he actually paid for a round of golf at Glen Oaks Country Club.
Ooh.
Let me tell you, I was out of my element there.
Yeah.
So,
That Ed Hardy and Affliction t-shirts.
right.
Well,
So, and our guest will appreciate this. At the at like the third hole, he went over to the beer cart lady and he brought over these tiny little shooters, and they were all a bunch of
God, dogs pee.
yeah.
Bring on the guest while I deal with this.
All right. Well, that's not the intro that we were looking to do for our guest tonight, but I guess it'll do. Super excited to bring on our new guest. He's been a friend of mine for probably a year or so, but I've known of him for quite a while before that. He was kind enough to let us film some promos for Billy and Willie's podcast in his rack house, and then we had a live episode there for Billy and Willie's workshop and raised some money for the Animal Rescue League. Speaking of dogs. So we welcome Kyle Doyle from Iowa Distilling Company. How are you, Kyle?
Living the dream. How are you doing, Chris?
Good. Aaron had to go take care of a peeing puppy, so
That's just the intro that I was looking for. You know, it's one of those where I got to pee, but I figure this is old man strength. So peeing in the middle of this thing is acceptable, right?
right. We just have depends on. We're it's all good. It's all good.
Oh, I forgot to give me that little tidbit before we had this intro. I see how it is.
Before the dog started peeing, I was telling a story. I was on the golf course last week with a salesman, and he decides that I guess we're going to take a shot of this whiskey after everybody makes a birdie. I wasn't too worried because I knew I wasn't making any birdies, but this other guy was hitting 2 or 3 birdies in a row, and he went to the golf cart lady and walks over with these little shooters of Fireball. And I was like, no. I can't drink that. And he's like, why? And I was like, because that's the F word. We only drink Prairie Fire around here. And he is from Texas, didn't know what Prairie Fire was. So I have a care package packed up for him of some little shooters of Prairie Fire and Saints and Sinners that I have to send him. So,
well, I appreciate that. Well, welcome to the Iowa hospitality. That's Iowa nice right there.
That's right.
Introducing people to something that's a little bit different and a little bit Iowa centric. So
that's right.
Thank you very much, Chris, for being our raging fan. That's what I always love to call people that are going to introduce our product to other people.
No problem. Kyle, welcome again to Old Man Strength. The way this podcast started was me and the previous co-host started off where we would just talk about our dads and how we grew up and things like that. So in the spirit of how this podcast started, we always like to ask our guest, tell us where you're from, tell us where you grew up.
Well, I am from Cumming, Iowa. I grew up just north of Cumming in a little neighborhood that's just over by Moffett Lake Reservoir. My mom still lives out there. And it was one of those things where I didn't know how cool it was to have Cumming on your driver's license until I got to college. And then that was the icebreaker that I needed for some of those bar conversations. However, I was a West Des Moines public school kid all the way through junior high, and then I went off to Dowling High School. So I'm a Dowling grad. I was part of my senior year was the first year that Dowling won the state football championship. I was the captain of the scout team, for goodness sakes. So I can't say I was a starter, but I still got to put my name on that plaque. And then after that, I ventured off to the wonders of Indianola, Iowa, and went to Simpson College. Got my degree from Simpson, and 4.5, 5-ish years, because really, why do you want to go back into the real world? And then since then, it's been kind of fun. I got a marketing with a religion minor, a marketing degree with religion minor. So Roman Catholic at a Methodist school. I think that the reason why I did that was because I enjoyed arguing with my professors about why their interpretation of the Bible was different from Jesus's. And so if Jesus was right, how can they be? That got me some very good laughs, but it also gave me a very good kind of baseline for being able to have hard conversations with some very very sensitive topics, but being able to actually understand a lot of different perspectives and appreciating that. So I melded that into I started working with my dad, talking about Old Man Strength. Worked with my father for the better part of a decade on a company that he started because he was a serial entrepreneur. So he started 2 companies here in Des Moines. And with that, I had a blast learning from him, kind of moving up the ranks. Ended up moving out of that company. And after a little bit of searching, found Iowa Distilling Company. And that's kind of where my passion came from of building in Iowa. I still think that Iowa is one of the best climates for people in the country. And it's one of those things that people are the most important asset of any company. And I don't care who you are, if you're a Fortune 500 company or if you're a 2-man shop, the people and the attitudes are the most important thing that you can surround yourself with. And so I still think that Iowa has that culture and that climate of being some of the coolest and most important work ethic people anywhere. And I've traveled the world. I've studied in a lot of different places. Simpson provided me a lot of opportunities to go and do that stuff. But at the same time, keep coming back here and, for goodness sakes, building our business in Cumming, Iowa again, because I think rural Iowa is important to everybody. So there's my little background. Sorry, Chris, if that took too long.
Nope, that's perfect. I'll start here. I worked with my dad for several years. Of course, my dad's been on my mind the last week after my mom's passing. So a lot of reminiscing about my mom and my dad. So I know what it's like to work for your dad. I know what it's like to work for your dad when he's the boss. I always used to joke that if you ever watch the show American Chopper, I swear to God, they put a camera in our shop because that was my dad and I all the time. We would argue all the time. Tell me a couple stories about working with your dad. One what's one of the benefits you always remember about working with your dad? And what's one of the times, because I know it happened, where you were like, the old man is wrong and he ain't listening?
Oh, never. That never happened. Jeez, I don't know what your business life was like. No, that's a great question. I don't think anybody's asked me those 2 poignant points before. Working with Dad was great. He was definitely the visionary of the company, and I never appreciated that until after I was in college and in business, more so than understanding the not necessarily persona, but the vibe, the aura that he had when he walked into the room. And I always appreciated him as a person. Sometimes when your dad's yelling at you because you did something stupid like TP your teacher's house or something like that, you kind of go, oh, you're a fun hater. However, when you witnessed how people responded to him when he came into the room, it was, now that I look back on it, and he's gone as well, and now that I look back on it, it was almost awe-inspiring. And some of his little quips or comments I still use to this day because I still think they're tangible. I remember one time vividly, and I think about this frequently. I was planning a trip, and it was going to be for him, the president, the CFO, the chief financial officer, and another one of our vendors to go on a trip, and myself to go on a trip somewhere. And my intention was to spend as little few days out of the office as possible and get the most out of the time that we were there. And so I booked our flights, or I suggested we book our flights at 5 a.m. and then get back 3 days later at like midnight. And my dad pulled me off to the side of the room and he goes, Kyle, these are people you work with. You do not want to drive them into the ground. This is one of those things where take the extra 2 nights in a hotel. It's on the company's dollar, but just make sure that you're treating people how you want to be treated. What would happen if somebody asked you to leave your family at 5 o'clock in the morning and then return at midnight and then be back at the office the next day? And that's one of those, I mean, it's a little tiny tidbit. Here I am thinking on the business side of things. I want to save revenue. I want to save the expense, and I want to get the most out of our hours. But him saying that the personal aspect of it was more important because that way you're going to get better, a better experience and a better meeting. For goodness sakes, that really kind of hit home. And so it's one of those things where you don't. I think Warren Buffett says you don't question anything when it comes to education. You don't question expenses when it comes to hotels for the most part. You don't need a 5-star resort, but also don't try to pick the lowest quality place in town because it's the highest value. So that's one of those things where I try to incorporate that and understand that people are the most valuable asset. Now, one time when he was completely wrong, he was never wrong. What can I say, Chris? He was. Sometimes I didn't agree with him, and sometimes
correct. That's a better way to put it, because my dad was never wrong either.
Yeah, sometimes my process was proven out, but it was a learning experience for me as well on how to handle things. So yeah, it was one of the quotes I always, and you'll probably appreciate this, Aaron. I'm not quite sure exactly where you work, but if it has that corporate environment or that corporate feel. And I even said this at his funeral when I was giving his eulogy. He always sat down at the head of the table, and he had that dad feeling, that dad kind of presence. And he always looked around and he goes, gosh, there's a lot of money that I'm spending per hour around this table. Let's make sure that this meeting is worth it. And I remember sitting at the pulpit at St. John's and looking around at the table, or at the crowd at his funeral. And I got, gosh, per hour, there's a lot of money in this room. Let's make this worth it. and it's one of those going, okay, this meeting could have been an email is personified when all of a sudden you realize that somebody's footing the bill for all these people and all this brain power to be around here. Let's make sure that we're getting the most value out of it.
For sure. Pivot real quick. You said you went to Dowling in high school. You played football.
Yeah.
We may have a mutual friend then, Coach Larry Weir. Did you play for Coach Weir?
Yes.
Yeah.
Coach Weir was, yep.
Coach
not
was,
directly under him, but
Coach was my one of my dear friends when I first went to St. John's and went through a retreat. Coach Larry was one of the first men that I met and is a dear friend of mine. And so I remember teasing him because I went to Lincoln. And, the rumor was that, Dowling would recruit all the best players from around the metro. And I remember telling him that. And his response was, you're goddamn right we were.
It's one of those. We were recruiting the best people for Dowling High School, whether they were athletes or not. We were recruiting the best people. Caitlin Clark just happened to be one of the best people as well.
For sure.
Yeah. No, my the family that I grew up next to, the wife, Mrs. White, was actually a counselor at Lincoln for many and many years. And goodness sakes, I will say that I think every high school has interesting stories, but when you talk to a counselor, sometimes she's like, I'm not going to say what happened, but goodness sakes, it was a good day, or it was one of those days.
Yeah,
so,
you bet.
I didn't know you were a Lincoln guy.
Yes, graduated in '89. A rail splitter.
A rail splitter.
With the minus of 6 months in Phoenix when I was a freshman. My dad thought it was a great idea to move to Phoenix for a job, and I absolutely hated every second of it.
Really?
So, yeah.
Even February?
Yes, we moved in January. So, and needless to say, I was a kid from Iowa. I'm in Phoenix. It's 65 degrees, the first day of school. So I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt to school. Like, this is like summer weather to me. And I showed up and everybody else is in jackets and pants. And they all looked at me and they instantly were like, that guy is not from around here. And needless to say, it went downhill from there. So yeah, wasn't a great move for me.
Shouldn't
welcome back.
Party t-shirt the first day.
Dude, it was 65 degrees outside. I just left -10. That's like a 75-degree difference. I was like, this is, yeah, that
Well,
was
the same
Go ahead.
experience I had when we went to Phoenix for the 2000 Insight.com Bowl. Like we left December, Iowa. It was like 9 degrees. We get down there, it's like 65, and we're in t-shirts, and we walked down the street and saw this lady in like a full-length mink coat. And I'm like, it's not that kind of temperature out here.
right. And I'm pretty sure they didn't know where Iowa was. I'm pretty sure they did not know where Iowa was. It was either Ohio or Idaho or whatever. They mixed those three up. Anything west of Colorado, anything east of Colorado, they did not care about.
So Iowa.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. You bet.
Yeah.
Aaron, go ahead.
So I'm drawing back here. I'm backing up to the coming part of this for a minute.
As does everybody.
No, only because
Where we all start.
It's been a while since I lived in Iowa. But is it just north of Cumming, the polo field?
Well, that's going to be in Orilla. So
Okay.
Powder River Ranch is what you're thinking about.
I couldn't remember. I just remember one time we were driving down through. I think my buddy was living in Cumming at the time or something like that. So we were driving down through there for some reason, and we were maybe inebriated, maybe.
Never.
And we ran out onto the polo fields at like midnight-ish, 1 o'clock in the morning, and stole like 2 polo balls. I think I still have it around here somewhere.
I'll go let Britt know.
Yeah.
No, those polo fields are actually really awesome. The things that they're doing over there, I didn't realize how.
Where is this at?
equestrian. This is in Orilla, so over by the chicken.
Okay.
So Britt has I think it's one of the, I don't know if it's the only, but it's the Central Iowa's polo field, and they actually have like accredited games, and they have international players, and they actually come up to the distillery once in a while to have cocktails from all over the world. And there are some amazing polo players that are coming through there, and there's some amazing polo ponies that are over there. But one thing that I am always appreciative is that Britt, the bakers that own that Powder River Ranch, open it up, and they're big fans of variety. And so every year they have a men's stag party out there, and they open up their indoor arena, and they have a lot of auction items and things like that. It actually was the weekend of the Iowa State and Ireland game this year. And then before that, they had the very last, and I can't remember how many years they did it, but they did Polo on the Green, which is a variety fundraiser. And they sell tables for this, and they play a real polo game in front of everybody, and everybody dresses in their big hats, and you go out there and stomp the divots during the in the middle of the ends. It is just really, really cool how they utilize something that kind of is a what is that, Pretty Woman kind of style, where it's almost out of reach of because it's that high echelon, but you introduce it into to Iowegians, if you will, and everybody kind of comes together, and it is a really cool event, and they raise a ton of money for variety. So being able to use a platform that is very unique is really cool. And I know that we used to do that at, did you know that, side note, tangent, sorry, I always raise my hand and say tangent when I go off the rails. Did you know that Iowa also has its own curling group? We actually have a curling club.
Did not know that.
Yeah. So one of my buddies and I, when we were at Simpson, we actually organized the Simpson Curling Club. So Nate and I started this, and then he went on to Drake Law, and he started the Drake Curling Club, the Drake Law Curling Club, and I captained the Simpson Curling Club, and we ended up getting in regionals for the Collegiate Curling Championships. They were up in Duluth, Minnesota. I think it was Duluth, maybe not Duluth, but it was about 7 hours away. And so both the Drake Law Curling Club and the Simpson Curling Club went up to this small little curling facility so that we could qualify for nationals. And the only two clubs that showed up to the regional curling championships 5 hours away from Des Moines, Iowa, was Drake Law Curling Club and Simpson Curling Club. We drove 6 hours just to curl against each other. And we both made it into nationals, and so we ended up going to nationals. And Simpson Curling Club got third place in the country for the best curling club in the nation at our division. And I still have that medal to this day. Just as you have your polo ball, I have my curling medal. That gives me second in the region. There were two people, and then third in the country.
I didn't really earn my polo ball like you earned your medal.
I mean, I feel like you earned it. You worked for that. You worked for it. You snuck around. You ran, right? You did some kind of physical.
I mean, if you want to call them 1 o'clock in the morning, stumble jog across the polo field running, I suppose.
Hey, we're giving you the kudos. We're giving you the credit where credit is due.
That's right. That's right. Before we get into Iowa Distilling Company, because there's a transition I want to make, but you went to Simpson. Yep. You had a marketing degree. Mm-hmm. What's that first job out of college? And is that really what did you start in marketing and made it all the way through? Because I can tell you, I started with a business degree and ended up, and then at one point wanted to go to a leisure studies degree and then finished with a political science degree. So Aaron has a teaching degree. He doesn't teach. You do some marketing at the job you do, but what was your first job out of college?
First job out of college was working for the family company. And so I worked in the receiving bay. And I worked at the very back, and I boxed things up, shipped them out. And then when they came in, I unboxed them, cleaned them, and got them to the right departments. And I moved my way from there over to a little bit more of the technical side. And then after that, worked in customer service. And then from the customer service side, I graduated over to the sales side. From the sales side, I graduated. Virtually, if I was going to be working in the company, my dad's thought process was you need to know every aspect of the company. And it wasn't necessarily so that you could say that you did that. The thought behind it was that you appreciate every single person that you walk into the room with. And it doesn't matter if it's cleaning the bathrooms or if it is being the CEO of the company and signing the paychecks like the CFO did. You needed to be able to respect everybody, and they needed to be able to respect you. The title boss's kid did not earn you any extra credit, and all that did was held you to a higher standard, which is great. I mean, that's not exactly what any boss's kid wants to know. They want to think that, hey, you have some authority as soon as you walk in there, and maybe to some extent you do. But that is also something the respect is earned. It's not given. And I still think that to leaders today, even in any company, you can come in there with a manager title, but that manager title doesn't do squat to leadership unless that person's earned it. And trust is something that's earned in dribbles, drops, but it is taken away in one foul swoop if you just flush that toilet. You do something wrong, and then all of a sudden that trust goes away really fast if you do something ill-fated. So, did I use my marketing degree right away? Hell no. And my first job ever, just to make this even more uncomfortable, was waiting tables, being a Sunday brunch busboy in Cumming, Iowa, in a restaurant called Adam and Abby's. Adam and Abby's restaurant.
Is that where the chicken is now?
That is where the Mercantile is now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, they used to have a Sunday brunch. And I remember one point in time on Sunday brunch when I was a teenager, this was one where you got up out of the table and you went to the brunch buffet and you got your food. I thought somebody had left the table, and here I am shoving my fingers in their drinks and getting ready to take them away. And somebody goes, "No, stop! They're still here." It was actually the table. And so what did I do? Instead of going and replacing their iced tea, I just put my hand out of there and then walked out to the back, going, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed." So,
Enjoy my finger in your drink.
yeah. Luckily, the server saved the day, as they normally do, and said, "Let me get you a new one of those." But
which is why the girls don't let him serve drinks at the distillery for the same reason, I'm sure.
Well, at least
I
there's booze in it, so yeah.
That's right. That's right.
It's
That's
not
right.
somebody's iced tea.
True.
Long Island, maybe.
Oh, no, that's not. I'm not allowed to drink those, by the way. I've
Why
had.
not?
Well, so I've had 3 Long Island iced teas in my life, and there's been 3 times that I have not made it through the night. My wife is reminding me now. The first time was at a pizza bar restaurant in Okoboji. I was up there with my sister-in-law and brother-in-law and Stacy, and I drank probably 3 Long Island iced teas, and I fell asleep in the backseat of the car on the way back to their house. The second time we were in Galena, and we went to this boozy shake restaurant. They had like these boozy like milkshakes or whatever, and I knew that if I drank one of those, I would get sick because it's just too much sugar. So I ordered a Long Island iced tea, and Stacy goes, "Do you remember the last time you had one of those? That's a lot of alcohol." And I was like, "It'll be fine. It'll be fine." So I drank it. Then we stopped at the dispensary because I wanted to buy some cream for my mom for her restless leg syndrome. And the dude rubbed about 4 different creams on my arm, like testing it out. So we get down the street. I walk 2 blocks and I'm sweating to death, man. I'm like hot. And I looked at Stacy. I go, "I know you want to go all the way down there to go to this other shop. I'm going to sit on this bench right here and just relax for a second so that I can just calm down because I'm really hot." And so she left, and I think I fell asleep on the bench. And then the third time was on vacation in Colorado this year. I had a Long Island margarita. And instantly Stacy was like, "Why are you ordering that?" And I was like, "Because it sounds really good." I may have fell asleep at the table after I drank the whole thing. So I don't think Long Island iced teas are my thing. I probably shouldn't have those anymore. So,
Oh, goodness gracious.
oh, dude, it was bad.
That's
I wouldn't have
really-
been so bad, but my buddy said, "Aren't you going to finish that? What are you, some kind of wuss?" And I was like, and Stacy looked at him like, why would you tell him that? He wasn't going to finish it. So then I sucked the rest of it down, and 5 minutes later, my head was back. I was like this.
Okay. I got to unpack, especially the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one, you had 3 of them. Okay, you fell asleep in the car on the way.
Yes.
No big deal.
Yeah.
The second one, you had the influence of other substances potentially.
Correct. Yes.
This last one, what were you doing beforehand? Were you already
We
drinking?
drove. No, we drove. We drove through the mountains and got to this Mexican restaurant. And I think it was in it wasn't in Silverton. It was in Durango. We went to Durango.
Was this margarita a fishbowl?
It was a big one. It wasn't like a small, it was like a big glass. It was about like this big.
So it was like 2
But-
margaritas.
and- yeah. So, but we were going to go, we were going to eat dinner, and then we were going to go to the natural hot springs. And we just went back to the room, and I got half dressed into my swim trunks and just crawled on the bed and fell asleep, and they all left me there. So I didn't get to go to the hot springs.
I know that I miss a lot of shows because of work and everything else, but I'm going to need a new co-host who can handle his liquor. Come on, man.
I can with that Long Island iced teas. That's a Kyle. Those are not non-strong drinks, right? Like that's a lot of alcohol, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But it's all liquor. I know. Mug night at the Dean's List when I was in Ames. I drink Long Island iced teas out of the mugs, and on Silver night, $5 cover charge. Throw a quarter up on the bar and get a Long Island iced tea. I'd have 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
That's
So
not me.
Aaron, is there a drink that you cannot drink anymore?
No, not anymore. I did have a long hiatus with whiskey.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I got absolutely ripped in college. The Thursday night of Avisha by drinking almost an entire bottle of Black Velvet straight.
Well, that's your problem, right there.
Yeah, and so for about
College-
10 years,
Yeah.
the smell of whiskey, all of that was bad. And then slowly I was able to start drinking a Jack and Coke once in a while because those were big for, it still are, I suppose. But people would buy them for me and I'd politely drink them, even though I didn't necessarily care for it. And then it slowly kind of came back. Now I'm a big bourbon guy now. If I'm going to drink, most of the time it's bourbon. So there was a break in there that was well earned, but not anymore.
Yeah. Funny enough, there's actually quite a few people when we have the distillery and we're open to the public Tuesday through Sunday. And there's baby step back. There's about 23 licensed distilleries in the state of Iowa. We operate under license number 00000008. But there's over 100 breweries in the state of Iowa. And so when people come into our shop, a lot of the times they ask, their first question is, what kind of beer do you guys make? And so my famous response is vodka flavored beer. And then they look around and they see the barrels and they go, oh, you guys are a winery. What kind of wine do you make? And I say, whiskey flavored wine. And then I explain that we have the distillery in the name of the building that you just walked into. And they go, hey, I don't drink hard liquor. I had a bad experience one time in college and I just don't drink hard liquor. So very similar to what you just said about Black Velvet. And we've had that answer so frequently that we actually don't call it liquor. We don't call it alcohol. We don't call it hard alcohol. We call it spirits, because we have more people that have actually come in, and with that softer condensation, we go, well, what flavors do you like? Are you a citrus person? Do you like savory? Do you like sweet? And we can normally get something with our wide breadth of products. We can find something that actually fits their flavor. And they might walk out of there for the first bottle of spirits that they've had in 5, 10, 15 years because they didn't think they liked hard liquor. And they just put it all into the same bucket that, cinnamon whiskey is the same as vodka. That's the same as tequila, instead of trying to find out what's right to them. Yep. Now, with that, you also mentioned a brand name there that you did not, you tried to drink a whole handle of at one point in time.
No, it wasn't a handle. It was just a 750 milliliter.
Okay. You see, here I was giving you more credit. Now, they did release, this might be about a year or two old, but what do you think the top 5 gallonage wise hard alcohol, liquor, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to call it spirits, gallonage wise in the state of Iowa, what do you think the top 5 spirits are in the state of Iowa?
I was at the tasting for 1858, so I already know the answers to this.
Well,
okay. So Aaron,
I'll let Aaron guess.
You're not talking names, just the spirit itself, like vodka.
No, I'm talking names. I'm talking brand names.
Brand names.
And you named one of them because you got sick off of it.
Yeah, Black Velvet was big. I mean, my parents drank a lot of that. That's why I drink it, because I'd always seen them drink it. So that makes sense. There's got to be a just garbage vodka in there somewhere. Surely it's not Hawkeye vodka.
That's one of the top 5.
God, that sucks. This is hard for me. I haven't lived in Iowa for 20 years.
Yeah, but this is Tito's is the other one, correct?
That's number 1.
Yeah, that makes sense because they're huge.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. The other 2, the name brands.
Crown?
Nope.
Because it seems like everybody drinks one of those flavored ass crowns that suck.
God damn.
I have opinions, Chris, about booze.
No, I know.
Name brands.
Yep. Do you want me to help you out here?
Yeah. Help me out.
One of them's a cinnamon.
Oh, Fireball, or were we counting Fireball? Okay.
That's one of them. And then the last one has a guy that goes like this, and he has a foot on a barrel.
Oh, Captain Morgan?
Yep. So those are the top 5 gallonages in the state of Iowa. At
Okay.
least I think that was 24. I think that was 25. But yeah. So when you talk about gallonages and you're talking about Ames, you're talking about Iowa City, you're talking about Des Moines, it is amazing how many people go to bars and ask for the Captain and Coke, or they're asking for a Tito's and soda. And it is really kind of interesting when you think of the flavor profiles that people are associating. But you have some really cool ones out there that aren't in that top 100 that a lot of people enjoy. And I mean, you guys are sponsored by Revelton. Rob has done some amazing stuff down there, and he's created some amazing mulberry gins and honey vodkas, things like that. And our stuff really complements a lot of the stuff that those guys are doing down there as well. So it's really kind of cool to see some of those. And in that top 100 in the state of Iowa, we only have about 2 that are actually native products. And it's really one of those rising tides raising all ships, where the native distilleries in the state of Iowa. So native distillery is what Iowa has deemed micro distilleries, right? Micro distilleries on a national level, native distilleries in the state of Iowa is the classification. But until we reach 10% of that market, that Iowa market, I really want to see all the native distilleries continue to grow and thrive, because we have some really cool stuff that's coming down the pipeline. Cedar Ridge's bourbon is the #1 bourbon in Iowa. That is a hook to hang your hat on, man. That is awesome. And you have Revelton up and coming. You have the guys over in LeClaire, Mississippi River Distilling Company, that are doing some really cool things. The Bruchette brothers over there have made a really cool atmosphere over there, and have made a staple for themselves. Then you also have places like Hoffman over at Lonely Oak. He's doing some crazy cool stuff with grain that's grown right on his property. So I don't mean to get into the spirit side of things here, Chris, but you know, that's my passion. That's what
this is what we're on for.
Strive conversations towards that area. But when you're drinking, you know, the stuff that the bar has, and the bar has that for a reason. Sometimes it's because it's the low cost price per ounce. And they're mixing it with everything under the sun to make it palatable. And then you have the stuff at the store where you can go and you can get something that is uniquely Iowan, or you can get something that's uniquely different. And I'm not going to put you on the spot here and say, what's your favorite bourbon? Because there's so many cool choices out there, and it could change weekly, could change with per batch. You know, your favorite might be our batch 32 Iowa Distilling straight bourbon, but it might be Revelton's batch 17. And that's cool. That's one of the cool things about native distilling, micro distilling, is that each one of them is going to be a little bit different with that mash bill of the same. So,
well, and I'll just piggyback on that and say that one of the beauties that I've found meeting you and talking to you, and obviously knowing Rob, is how much you guys do support each other, right? It's not, obviously you're in the same space and you want to do your market and your market share, whatever, but I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation with Rob and they've had kind things to say about you and great things to say about your product, and vice versa, because you're helping Iowans and you're promoting Iowa, which is super great and something that we're passionate about here as well. So, speaking of that, what I need to do is I need to pay some bills. So I need to get a couple ads in here, and then Kyle, I want to come back and I want to talk to you about you seeing Iowa Distilling Company. Obviously, a lot of viewers may not know that you didn't start that, but you purchased it. I'd love to know the story about what made you want to do that, why Iowa Distilling Company, and what's changed since you've brought it on. So let's get a word from our sponsor, obviously Revelton Distilling Company, and styled by JJ Boutique, and then we'll be back with Kyle Doyle.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa-born, Iowa-aged, Iowa-bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
Gentlemen, let's be honest. Finding the perfect gift for your wife or girlfriend isn't always easy. You want something thoughtful, stylish, and unique. And that's exactly what you'll find at Styled by JJ Boutique. Julia Bradshaw and her team strive to be your go-to boutique for casual, boho, and chic clothing and accessories, helping women elevate their style one piece at a time. Located right here in Johnston, Iowa, Styled by JJ brings trendy, high-quality fashion that boosts confidence without breaking the bank. So, if you're looking for a gift that says, I get you, instead of I tried, head to Styled by JJ Boutique. Because nothing makes her smile like feeling beautiful. Styled by JJ Boutique, where style meets confidence. Visit our Johnston location or shop online at styledbyjjboutique.com.
All right, and we're back. Got to give another shout out to Julia over at Styled by JJ Boutique. She even made Bill Blank look good on the runway a week and a half ago at their fashion show. Outfitted him during the fair the entire week. And then I took my wife on her birthday a couple weeks ago, and she got some really nice stuff there. So, man, if you're looking for a place to take your wife, there's a bar right next door that you can probably get some Prairie Fire, some Saints and Sinners, have a drink while your wife's shopping and spending all your money. So that's the way you do that. So, Kyle,
I wouldn't trust you, Chris, at all buying clothes.
Dude, I look good. Kyle was just saying how well I matched my outfit to tonight. I got my Notre Dame hat that matches my blue and white shirt. Dude, I can style like the best of them. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. I have a question. Because again, I live in Seattle. So I haven't lived in Iowa for a while. How long has distilling been, because was it legal when I lived there in 2009 when I moved? Because I don't remember there being local distilleries.
Yep. Cedar Ridge was actually the first licensed distillery in the state of Iowa in 2005, I believe it was. And so we're about 13 years old. So we were around 2012 is when we were founded by a gentleman by the name of Todd Dunkel. And he actually had a batch of wine go bad on him. And so he made a second batch of wine, and he was lamenting to his dad over the phone. And when that batch of wine went bad on him, his dad said, well, you already made the alcohol. Why don't you distill it into brandy? And so that's how Iowa Distilling was actually originally formed back in 12. And he made some brandy out of that, and then got the bug, started with bourbon. And that's kind of where I came in at that point in time. And it became more than a hobby and not quite a business. And so once we kind of put some rocket fuel on the flames there, took off, and we have created one of the biggest native distilleries in the state of Iowa now. So we're working on becoming Iowa's Distilling Company rather than Iowa Distilling Company. But that apostrophe S is one of those really hard-earned things rather than just putting it on marketing material and shooting it out there.
You just put the in front, like Ohio State does.
The University of Miami.
Yeah. The Ohio State. You can't say it like that. They'll come right after you.
Yeah. So no, it's kind of fun when you have some really cool people that are in the same industry as you. Yeah, you're competitors in some aspects, but you're complementary in a lot of others. And so being in that space and being able to grow that has been really cool, and it's been really unique in a market that a lot of people think it'd be easy to sell stuff, but you're in a very crowded place where a lot of people aren't making a whole heck of a lot of decisions. They just know what they like because that's what my parents drank. You drank Black Velvet because that's what your parents drank.
Not anymore.
But it took a really bad night for you to change that habit, right? And so it's definitely interesting, definitely challenging. It's never the same thing every day. And I will say that I get to surround myself with a bunch of people that are some of the coolest and sometimes fickle market in the world. And we're probably also one of the only in the top distilleries or biggest distilleries. We're probably one of the only ones that are only in Iowa. So it's one of those things where we haven't ventured outside the borders because we want to make sure that we're taking care of Sheraton instead of Chicago. We're going over to Mahaska County instead of going up to Minneapolis. We're having Iowans give us their discretionary income, and we want to keep it within Iowa borders for right now. Not saying that we're not going to, but we want to make sure that we're dominating our backyard because you don't win the presidency unless you win your home state. And it's really cool because the last 7 years, we've actually been awarded the best local distillery in the state of Iowa through City View. Our Prairie Fire Cinnamon whiskey that Chris was talking about and referring to has won best whiskey in the state of Iowa for the last 7 years in a row. And then our spirits have actually won medals on that international level in LA International Wine and Spirits and Denver International Wine and Spirits competition. We're taking home awards with our vodkas and with our bourbon. And things like that we're pretty damn proud of, being just this small little pop stand in Cumming, Iowa, and then putting our money where our mouth is. So about 2 years ago, about 18 months ago, we completed, in addition to our 100 plus year old building, we actually do all of our bottling and our distillation, and we invested in building a 6,000 square foot rack house in downtown Cumming, Iowa. It used to be one of the bigger structures in that whole historic town. Now we've had some other construction that have come up, but at the same time, that is us living the credo that we've asked: invest in rural Iowa and it will flourish. Mm-hmm. And as Chris knows, Norwalk Cumming area is booming. And it's one of those areas that it doesn't happen by accident. And it doesn't happen just because somebody wishes it to happen. It happens because of actions. And I'm not saying that Iowa Distilling Company is the catalyst for all that happening. We're one of the beneficiaries, but I think that it definitely helps add to the conversation when people are talking about rural Iowa, when people are talking about coming. Before we had all these things coming, we didn't really have those conversations. We were just another small town that would have been washed away. And for goodness sakes, it also has some of the best t-shirts that could have ever been made.
That's right.
Sorry, just had to throw that in there.
That's all right. That's all right. So walk me through your spark of an idea that you want to take this on.
Yeah.
What prompted it?
Truthfully, it was the belief that Iowa is a great place to build, and being able to be from Iowa, being able to be from Cumming, it was a challenge sometimes to explain why Iowa was awesome to everywhere else. I mean, at the beginning of this, we were talking about Iowa being the flyover state. People didn't even know where it is when you were in Phoenix, right? There's a lot more of that than we like to believe. But my dad and my mom were both came from Minneapolis, and they moved to Iowa, and they weren't really thrilled about being positioned in Iowa, but they grew to love it. And as I traveled, I grew to appreciate it more and more. And I think some of even our high school friends probably moved out, and then they've moved back because the appreciation for it. but we didn't really have a whole hell of a lot to hang our hat on. You can go and you can bring some AE products over to your friend in Minneapolis and say, hey, we got a really good dairy. It was one of those things where we're known for commercial real estate. We're known for insurance, right? We're known for some IT. We're one of the biggest regions for IT and development and stuff like that. But how the heck do you go across to Chicago and say, hey, look at my insurance policy. I'm really proud of this. So it was one of those where we wanted to add a little bit of fun and get something that Iowans can be proud of. And I always reiterate it because we really dive into it. I mean, we named the company Iowa Distilling Company. That doesn't really venture over to Missouri or Michigan very well. But we're not trying to be there. We're not trying to be Michigan Distilling Company. We're trying to be Iowa Distilling Company. And so that's where we kind of dipped our foot in. And one of the first things I did when we had one full-time employee and one part-time employee was we had licenses in 9 different states. We pulled out all the other distributors. We pulled out from every other state. And we said, we're not going to spend another marketing dollar in another state until we have product in all 99 counties. After about 3 years of that mantra, we got product in all 99 counties. Van Buren County, Farmington, Iowa was the very last county for us to get. And as soon as I found out that they bought 6 bottles of Prairie Fire, I drove the 2.5 hours that day and picked up 4 of the 6 bottles from the Casey's General Store. And I shared it with our team that night and said, congratulations, we finally made our goal. And
that Casey's was like, holy shit, this stuff's flying off the shelves. We need to order more.
I hope so. I hope so. So yeah, that is how it started. It was all the Todd Dunkel actually was chopping wood in the backyard with one of my old coworkers and said, hey, I think this is becoming more than a hobby, but I'm not quite sure. And the gentleman knew my passion for Iowa products and Iowa building. And so he said, hey, Kyle, I think you need to come over here, chop some wood with us and have a beer. And so it all started with a chicken scratch on the back of a napkin. Isn't that how all great businesses start?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I hope that answers your question, Chris.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Aaron, go ahead, because I have other questions, but I'll let you jump in.
So maybe you can or maybe you can't say. Anything new and exciting that like you're working on but haven't quite got where you want it yet and haven't released yet? Is there something that we can tease the public with?
I always say follow us on social. That's where we're going to make our announcement second. So we always notify our Bourbon Club first. And our Bourbon Club is a group of people that invested into us at the very beginning, early on, when we needed to buy corks and caps and labels and everything for our first batch of bourbon. Todd sold Bourbon Club memberships. We've now surpassed that need, but we keep that spirit alive by selling Bourbon Club memberships, which is a one-time membership fee, but you're a lifetime member. And we always notify them at our Bourbon Club meetups of new products that are coming out, things that are low bottle numbers, things like that. I won't say anything too much right now, but it's always one of those things where keep your eyes out, because our Bourbon Club and our followers know that we always have something cooking. When it comes out, I believe the ad said when it's ready, right?
Right. Yep. For sure.
Marketing genius.
I know, right?
Never fully commit. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Right.
That's exactly what marketing is.
Not counting the 1858 vodka, because that's a separate conversation that I want to have with you. Taking on Iowa Distilling Company, were things like Saints and Sinners, Prairie Fire, was that already a product that they had? And what's something new that you came up with that is after you took it over?
You know, a lot of the products that we have are still developing their longevity. So Prairie Fire was a product. Saints and Sinners was a client product. So that was a product that we were just white labeling for a client.
Really?
Yep. So
Ex-
he was actually he was a UNI grad. So he was a Panther, and he was making it with our rocket fuel, our 151 proof grain alcohol as a base. And when he was making it, it became so popular at UNI tailgates that people asked him if they could buy it. And so his response was to contact us and say, hey, can we make a commercially viable product? And then after some research and development, we were able to come up with something to release it. And so we made Saints and Sinners as a white label product. He was responsible for all the sales and marketing. We were responsible for the manufacturing. And that's when that's when the Kyle era, if you will, kind of came around. We were doing that for the owner, and he ended up moving out of state. And he was like, hey, I think I'm just going to shut this down. It's not my livelihood or anything like that. And we said, hey, this is a product that we really like. Can we buy all the IP from you, all the intellectual property, all the recipes, things like that? And so we agreed upon it and said, okay. After that, we rebranded everything. We rebranded it, we remarketed it, we made it into our own. And since then, our apple pie has our Saints and Sinners apple pie, sinfully sweet. Sometimes your halo has to be held up by your horns. All that fun jazz.
Marketing. He's a marketing genius.
Has come to be actually one of the fastest growing spirits in the state of Iowa. And the reason why people love it is because it's that low proof, so you don't fall asleep in your booth after you've had a couple of. However, it's also a really amazing.
Little do you know that I've actually done that, Kyle. I've drank a lot of that, and I've passed out in the couch. So.
So yeah, it's actually one of the great mixers, and it's really good on the rocks. So it tastes like apple pie with the cinnamon finish that your grandma does, but if you do it with a little bit of A&W cream soda, it tastes like apple pie a la mode. You mix it with a little bit of orange juice, and you actually have a lot of breakfast. So think of apples and oranges together. It is really, really cool. And I think that even though some of these products were holdovers from Todd, the same time they haven't developed their own story yet, and we're still on that storyline path of, okay, what's the problem? The problem is that we're trying to get people to communicate better with their with the spirits that's in their glass, right? We want them to know a little bit more. My professor at Simpson always talked about Mark Green. He always talked about the Wonder Bread theory. And I think I've told you this before, Chris, but when it is 5 o'clock, we're now 8:59 at night. If you're going to the grocery store and you are going down the bread aisle, you know what your family eats. You know what kind of bread you want. You know, maybe not you want, you know what kind of bread you eat. Maybe not you want, but you know what kind of bread you eat. You know about what shelf it's on. You know if it's Sara Lee honey wheat. You know about the price point it is. I don't care if there's an orange sticker on Pepperidge Farm. I'm still going to get the one that my wife's not going to yell at me for, because I'm going to put this one in my cart, right? You're done making decisions. You've already expressed that muscle, that willpower, that higher fire, yes, no muscle all day. I'm done doing that. It is now bled over into the spirits world. And when you typically go to the store, you know how many of this vodka is going to take me to feel good. You know how many of this vodka is going to take me to feel bad. And it happens to be on the end cap. I don't care if there's a vodka that I really like the story. I'm not going to go looking for it, because that just takes an extra 30 seconds. And we're trying to break that cycle and trying to give that reason for you to take that extra 30 seconds to walk those 2 steps to say, hey, this is Iowa corn, 100% Iowa corn, gluten-free. This has all the qualities that I like about everything. However, it means more, because it's helping a small business. It's helping a child get dance shoes. It's doing this, it's doing that. There are thousands of different vodkas that you can pick from. How come you're going to pick this one at this price point? And sometimes it's the cheapest. You're looking for the buzz. You're not looking for the taste. And sometimes it's because I want to support this or that. And we'll talk about 1858 in a minute because that supports even more. However, in the bourbon section, it's the same thing. A lot of the times the bourbon people, bourbon connoisseurs are the ones that we're thinking are going to spend the most amount of time looking at all the different labels and trying to find out the best one. But it's like being at a bookstore. If you don't have a sexy cover, if you don't have dragons painted on the side of your book, people aren't going to pick it up anymore. You have to have that authority. You have to have that reason, and you have to have that front end. Knowing marketing, Chris, you have to have that front end acknowledgement to move down the funnel to research to familiarity in order to be able to say, hey, I'm going to risk that $38. I might buy $38 worth of Amazon crap tomorrow and not blink an eye, but to risk $38 on me choosing this one rather than a namesake that I already know, that's one of those things. So have we changed it? Most of the flavors are very similar, if not the same, of when I took it over. But that was 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago, better part of a decade. And I think that we're still making those steps and we're building the base. We're not going to come out with a Fruit Loop flavored vodka and guess what the next flavor is going to be. We're not going to try to chase that. You mentioned Crown. They do a fantastic job of coming out with flavors. And I'm never going to talk bad about the big guys because they've created markets that we thrive in. However, we're never going to chase that flavor profile train because if we have a good base, you can make it taste like whatever the heck you want it to taste like. You want your vodka to taste like orange juice? Why don't we make a vodka that doesn't taste like anything and you can put your own orange juice in there?
Right.
Doesn't that seem more reasonable? That seems more Iowegian, right? My tractor's broke. I'm going to fix it. Instead of buying another tractor, I'm going to go fix it. Instead of having a different 3 vodkas and I can't find the one that I want, I'm going to make a vodka that I'm going to make the one that I want. So
yeah.
The funny part about all that flavored garbage.
Yeah, Aaron will trash him.
What?
Aaron will trash him.
People drink it. I'm not trashing Crown for doing it by any means, but they get that stuff, the apple or whatever it is, and then they still put Coke in it. It's like,
yes.
What's the point then?
Yes.
It's like, if you want to drink Crown and Coke, drink Crown and Coke, but why do you need all that other stuff? Because I don't know anybody that drinks Crown straight.
No, I don't. I mix it.
Unless you want to drink syrup. It's so sweet, and it's just, it's a fine mixer. If you want to drink it. But, yeah, it's weird. I'm that way about bourbon too. I don't necessarily like the wine finished bourbons and all those things, which I know is nice for some people, but that's not. I want bourbon. I don't want that other stuff. But that's just me. I'm weird about it. I'm that way with beer too. I don't like that fruity crap either.
And everybody has their own flavors, and that's cool, and that's something that makes everybody unique. And the unique aspect of us is that we want to be part of a foundation. The reason why people drink us is because they feel a familiarity with the brand. All we're Iowa Distilling Company, and what we're doing is we're creating quality because everything we put out there we're damn proud of. We're creating community because we're not just doing it for the buzz. We're creating a community around it, whether that be a community of like-minded people or that's creating a space for a conversation, and we're having fun. 3 very, very, very simple things out there, but that's what we're doing. That's what we want to be able to do, and we're doing that with some of our core values. We're driven, we're solution focused, we're team oriented. We're those things that epitomize what it is to be Iowan, and the things that when Chris, you asked me why am I in this, and it was because of my Iowa pride, right? It was because of the pride that I don't think a lot of people they're almost too humble to admit that those are some of those qualities that we appreciate about our neighbor. We're never going to say it about ourselves, but we're going to talk about our neighbor, talking about how awesome he is because he goes out and helps Iowa Stead Children's Hospital.
Right.
Or he's really cool because he does this. We're going to talk about our neighbors, and that's one of the things that we really like about being Iowans, and that's what we're striving to do.
So let's get a break here from Kyle. We'll get a word from Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you a question, Kyle, and then when we come back, you can answer the question. The question is 1858 vodka. Why support an NIL? And what was the decision process? What was the process like to go through with the We Will Collective on that? So let's get a word from Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage, and we'll get back an answer from Kyle Doyle about 1858 vodka.
Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing your home, or if it's simply time to renovate the one you're already living in, you need an experienced mortgage professional to help you analyze your financing options and to make sure the closing goes smoothly. And that's exactly what you get when you call Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage. Kyle's experience and expertise, coupled with Wintrust's rates and programs, ensures you'll get the mortgage that's right for you. You may even qualify for down payment assistance. Before you reach out to a realtor, call Kyle and get pre-qualified, empowering you to start shopping for the home of your dreams. Call Kyle at 515-473-0546. Kyle Lehman Wintrust Mortgage, 515-473-0546.
All right, and we are back with Kyle Doyle, of course, from the Iowa Distilling Company. I met Kyle again. We go to church together. I saw him at church, things like that. I'm at a tailgate last year. Of course, he's got this 1858 vodka that's supporting NIL. And up walks to my tailgate Kyle and Jason Norton from Drinks with Jason and presents me with an 1858 vodka flag, which is limited edition because I happen to have some on the table. So, of course, we support everybody here, all Iowa products, obviously. But what was the beginning of conversation with that from Brent and Crystal at We Will, and why support Iowa State NIL?
Seemed like a good idea at the time. No, it was actually a really cool adventure. One of the things that Iowa State did was that they weren't allowed to have hard alcohol as sponsorship. They couldn't tie the school name with it. And about 3 years ago, Learfield finally was able to say, hey, of Cyclone Sports Properties, they were able to say, hey, we can now associate with hard alcohol. And so they actually came to us. They came to a couple different native distilleries in the state, and they go, we really think that it is important that we associate with a native distillery. It's important to the Iowa State culture. It's important to Iowa State in general that we support local. Instead of just going off and going with the cheapest, we want to find something that really epitomizes what we're doing. And so we were talking to them. And one of the things that really intrigued us was that it wasn't just Iowa State athletics. It was also the fact that we wanted to team up and be part of the collective with Brent and Crystal and the We Will Foundation, We Will Collective as well. So what you found in beer, and I can go into a whole nother soliloquy, but we don't have time for that, Chris. But I'm going to use beer as an example. A lot of the times what happens is that you either get you get one entity that's being supported by one brand, and you get the other. So like the state is sponsoring one brand, and then the collective is sponsoring another. And us as a consumer, we go to the store and we say, well, I really like that flavor, but I like that cause. Well, how am I going to split that difference? Oh, I'm just going to pick up a Bud Light because it has an Iowa State logo on it too. And then you kind of disassociate yourself with those two and not feel bad about it. Well, we were able to combine that into one product, so you don't have to choose anymore. And so we came up with Iowa State 1858. 1858 is the year that Iowa State was founded. So we just didn't pick some random name out of the hat. But we picked that, and then we made a vodka that Iowans can be proud of. That's Iowa State fans can be proud of. So it's actually a award-winning recipe, and it's one of those things where it's nice, clean, and smooth. Somebody came up to us and said, "Hey, is that just another vodka put in a bottle?" And we said, "We wouldn't do that to Iowa State fans. We're actually creating something that you can be proud of." And then we put Cy on the label because that was the most Cy-centric thing we thought we could do. And it's really amazing to me because a lot of the times what happens is, and people don't think about this very often, but when you buy the bottle, part of those proceeds go back to the weight room. They go back to the pool. They go back to the facilities. Those are things that we need in order to attract top tier talent. We need to have facilities that are top in the country. But we also need to have the We Will NIL program. We might not be able to offer them the most money, but we need to make them feel valued. Think about some of the athletes that we have. They're not paid the same type of money that some of the other Big Ten athletes are paid, but they stay here because of the culture. But if we can't offer them anything, then they're almost forced to go other places because they need to feel valued. And so if we can do that with something that we're already doing, you're already going to be asking for that vodka soda. Why don't we change the habit in order to say a science soda? Because every bottle that we sell, part of those proceeds go back to Iowa State Athletics and the Iowa State Athletes. Since we're only available in Iowa, we know that those Iowa dollars are staying in Iowa borders. Why are we sending dollars down to fund Archie Manning when we can help fund our cornerbacks that we need? Why are we going and supporting other entities when we can sit there and help our softball team? So that was the intent of let's keep Iowa dollars in Iowa borders. Let's keep Ames dollars in Ames athletes' pockets. And that was kind of the catalyst. And so we've had some really good support with you, Chris, with Drinks with Jason. A lot of people have jumped on that bandwagon, but a lot of people originally bought the bottle, they put it on their back bar, I'm supporting, and then they're pouring something else. And I always have to remind people, that back bar, we appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. Thank you. But you're even going to be better if you're pouring it as well.
Right.
That's the important thing.
Right.
That second bottle also funds athletes.
You can still display the bottle after it's empty.
Yeah. So it's not a novelty piece. We will continue to make it. So drink it.
Right.
Please. So.
Yeah. Rob says the same thing when he'll sign a bottle for me and I'll be like, well, I'm going to save this. He's like, no, I need you to drink that. Like you don't keep a bottle just because I signed it. You need to drink it. That's why I made it. So
yeah,
it's the same thing for sure.
Same concept.
That would, if this was a different podcast, that would lead me right into my rant about people who hoard bourbon and have walls of it. And I want to punch all those people in the face. Drink it.
Yeah.
Drink the bourbon.
You know, it reminds me.
I
was at the last tailgate I was at. We were walking back from the RV Village, and there was a guy that had a bunch of empty, different tequila bottles all lined up on the back of his tailgate, and they were just crazy looking different tequila bottles. And so me and my brother-in-law stopped and we asked him about it, and he says, "Well, there's two rules here." He's like, "Those are the bottles of tequila that we've drank at this tailgate this year, and the rule is that if you ask about it, you have to take a shot." So I was like, okay. And that was the first time I had a shot of tequila in a long time. And I was like, I don't know how those guys are functional.
Did you go sleep afterwards?
What? No, I didn't.
Afterwards?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I did go sit down for a little bit. So
it got hot.
It got hot. It was hot out that day. That's right.
We're talking about your fireball or whatever the F word, right? When you were golfing. I currently have, speaking of tequila, I have mezcal in my flask for birdie juice when I'm playing golf.
I always use Prairie Fire as my birdie juice, Saints and Sinners as my bogey juice, since they're both in those 50 shooters. I haven't walked off a golf course unhappy yet. So,
No.
I won't tell you what my score is, but I haven't walked off a course
It doesn't
unhappy.
matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. All right, Kyle. Last thing we do here is this last portion is usually what we call the STFU segment, where we would ask people to donate to the Young Women's Resource Center in honor of a previous guest that we had on here that told one of the co-hosts here, not me or Aaron, to shut the fuck up so she could get her point across. And we thought it was so funny that we would do a sponsored segment and we would ask people to donate to Stephanie Copley's charity, the Young Women's Resource Center. But instead, we're going to take a little bit of a pivot here because we are currently trying to raise money for Oak Park Elementary School in Des Moines. Last year, we did a toileties drive for them, and we were able to raise enough money and enough donations to give every kid in that school a bag with new toothpaste and toothbrushes and deodorant and just the basic needs that they need. So what we're going to do is we're going to I'm going to share my screen here just with a little bit of a post here about what we're doing for Oak Park Elementary School. We want to make a big impact with small items. So 3 ways that you guys can donate. You can obviously Venmo, the Three Beards Media Venmo account. You can go right to our Three Beards Media Twitter page. This is pinned at the top. You can go ahead and scan that Venmo code and go right to our Venmo. You can scan that Amazon list and you can go right there and purchase something and have it sent right to the school, or you can buy it on your own and drop it off at Oak Park Elementary School. So we're doing this for another week and a half. Hopefully we can get some more donations in and help the kids out there at Oak Park Elementary School. It's a little bit of a special deal. My daughter Caitlin is a kindergarten teacher there. She can tell me every night what the kids needs. And actually, this is the hometown school of Bill Blank. Bill Blank lives like 2 blocks from this school. So God knows, those kids need some help if they live near Bill. So with that, that's the STFU intro, which means, Kyle, this little part right here, Aaron and I have to shut the fuck up. And you can say whatever you want about anybody that you want, about any subject. Nothing's off limits, and we cannot talk or react while you say it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I wasn't prepared for this one, Chris, so I apologize. Now, I just want to say thanks because I think the thing that we don't hear enough is appreciation. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Aaron, for creating stuff like this so that we can expand our message a little bit more. And I want to say thank you to everybody that's supporting local, supporting Iowa Distilling Company. It's one of those things where we appreciate it more than you know. And it's one of those where we always say, hey, if you like what we're doing, if you like the message, you like the story, you like what's going on, and you want to see it continue, please tell 5 people about us. And I think that goes with Iowa Distilling Company, with our brands, with anything like that. With Old Man Strength, with Three Beards Media. If you like what's going on, don't be afraid to shout it from the rooftops and become a raging fan, because those raging fans, those advocates, continue to help us expand and do things that are crazy cool. And so, yeah, that is my STFU is appreciation, appreciation for what you guys are doing, appreciation for everybody out there in listener land, and yeah, I do wish that Aaron would stop saying the F word.
Right?
You know, it's one of those things where we can figure out a way to get you the good stuff.
Trust me, I don't drink it.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't drink that flavored national crap.
Hey, it's not crap. Like I said, if they didn't create the silo for it, we wouldn't be thriving in the cinnamon whiskey area.
There you go.
I got to give them all the kudos in the world. But yeah, it is amazing to be in this area. It's amazing to be in this aspect. I do encourage everybody that's listening to follow our socials. Iowa Distilling Company on Facebook, Iowa Distilling Company on Instagram, X, Twitter. We're also on TikTok.
You are on TikTok. I've seen very many of those.
Yeah. I am kind of like Aaron. where I'm more of a dinosaur in the social media realm. Aaron, I've heard you have 30 followers altogether. Isn't that what it's on the website?
I think it's more than, it might be 230.
230? Okay.
And I stopped at Twitter. 287.
287.
I'm
Well,
glad
we need
that
to
we-
update the website.
I don't have Instagram, TikTok, Snapface, or any of those other things, whatever they are. I got none of that.
Okay. Well, yeah. So
Only
we
because
got
I make
Chris-
that joke. I make that joke all the time. It drives my kids nuts.
yeah.
It's a good one. It's a dad joke. It's a good one.
So yeah, the other thing that I would also encourage people to do is go to CityView website. We are collecting. We're in the midst of voting right now. Would love for the support to be the best local distillery in Iowa again for the 8th year in a row. Best whiskey with Prairie Fire. I think you guys should throw your name in the hat for best podcast. So it's one of those things, being able to do all that kind of stuff and just support local. Know where your grain and your glass are coming from. I think it's important. So thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Hopefully we fulfilled all your hopes and dreams. And Aaron, we didn't even do a whole section based on the name of the town. I thought that was where we were going to go down in this 90 minutes that we've been here, for goodness sakes.
No.
A lot to unpack.
Maybe
Well,
next time.
That just means that when next time Aaron's in town, we just have to have a live episode at Iowa Distilling Company and then write incoming Iowa. Then that'll work.
I'm currently thinking about how I got to burn this week of vacation before the end of the year.
Well, there you go. We'll figure it out then.
If that's the case, can we get Aaron down about an hour and a half earlier, and we'll just make you some Long Island iced tea, Chris?
Yes. Yeah, and then you guys can do the show on your own.
No.
Aaron's gonna have to learn how to work the back end finally then, because he doesn't know how to do it.
I just think we could have some very interesting conversations after
we could. Yeah, that's as Elaine says on Seinfeld, that might be the key to the vault. That might be the combination. All right, everybody, we appreciate you guys listening to another episode of Old Man Strength. You want to check out the rest of our Three Beards Media content. Of course, Side of the Storm went last night. Bill and Willie's workshop is tomorrow night. We are doing another live episode of Bill and Willie's workshop at the new Fairway Franks in downtown Norwalk. The owner there is a cousin, one of the many cousins that Willie has. I don't know. I can't keep them all straight. It's an Italian family. So we're going to invade that place on October 28th. And then, of course, Hawk's Eye View. We've got Chair Shots and Chokeholds. And then Josh is back with Scooby Chats and Scooby Snacks or whatever his show is where he, I don't know. I guess he's eating some giant sandwich on Thursday night. So you want to turn in for that. Aaron, thanks so much for your co-host. Kyle, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate all the support that you show us. And with that, we are out of here.
Old man strength, built to last. Try to break me, you won't get past. Ain't no quit, ain't no doubt. You don't know tough till